Hey, you. Welcome back to the very first episode of 2025. I wanted to share that I've been talking about how to shed what no longer serves me, and that's what me and my friends are doing this year. And I've really discovered that we can look back at the natural world for some more inspiration. So, to get into our episode today, let's play a game real quick. It's about me, so I hope it's fun for you. It's called Two Truths and a Lie. So, number one is I was a t shirt model. Number two is I've been saying flower power, and you can even find me in the background of Dale Chihuli's videos saying it. Number three is I've studied natural dyeing techniques in Morocco. Okay, the big reveal. Number one is true. Although very short lived, I was a t shirt model for a hemp apparel company. Number two is, yeah, I've been saying flower power for years. I was Dale Chihuli's painting assistant, and you can hear me on some of his videos saying flower power. So that leaves number three as not true, but I will one day go to Morocco. So you can see that I believe in the power of flowers. We can look at flowers for inspiration because they are some of the most creative species out there in the natural world, right? Check it out. They start from a seed, they have to weather turbulence and all the weather storms, and then they blossom from the energies from within. I think this is a beautiful metaphor to take us into the next year. And so to start, my next guest is Katie Hess. She's a flower alchemist. She's author of Flowerevolution, and she started this great company called LOTUSWEI. So, how do you dissolve self doubt? The power is in the flower. Really. Katie Hess is helping people really face being fearless in public speaking or sleeping more soundly or quieting their inner critic because there is a flower remedy for that. In this episode, Katie brings us a fresh perspective because the answer lies in the energy of flowers. Discover how these energy medicines can help liberate us and cultivate our fearlessness, self assurance, and true personal leadership. It's a great episode. Listen also inside this episode because she walks me through an episode to lose my self doubt. I was totally surprised where my self doubt lies. And it even made it into my pedal project. And if you haven't worked with me on a pedal project yet, look out for more workshops for that later on in the year, like March, April, and May. It's going to be great. Okay, let's dive into the episode because I'm so excited to introduce you to Katie Hess. I loved how you just said fearless because I've been dying to tell you. I offer a workshop. It's called the Full Pedal Project. It's a life mapping workshop where I help guide women through looking and retracing their life events through the feminist lens.
Hmm.
And it's a creative exercise. So we rebuild our life one pedal at a time.
That sounds very interesting. I want to know more.
Okay, I'll send you some information. And one of the metaphors that I use is that patriarchal stricture of calling a flower, oh, you're fragile as a flower. And it's demeaning. And it's demeaning towards femininity and it's a demeaning towards softness. So I'm always like, can't we rebuild it? Can't we say
Oh,
fearless as a flower? I mean,
yeah,
they have
softness
to.
is strength. I mean, you got to like have soft tissues to birth a baby, right? Softness,
Yes,
strength. You got to have softness to die. Like, what else is like more fearless than dying, you know? All these things require softness.
they do. Wow. Um, so in your elixirs, your flower essences, what have you got going on in the truth serum?
Yeah, there's a lot of different forms. So the truth teller itself is it's got like a bouquet of flowers. One of
Mm,
them is a super rare black bat flower. It's got, and they call it black bat because it's got bat wings and it has tiger whiskers and the little things that look like an eel mouth. It's a really kind of unnerving flower. If you see it, if you look into it, it's like, ugh, it's kind of scary. And I think it's because It's for the nice girl in us. It's like the nice girl that doesn't really want to look at the anger, that's like a little afraid of our anger, right? Because if we actually let it surface, we might just like blow up the whole village and destroy everything in a nuclear explosion.
No wonder why I'm attracted to it. I think that bats are one of my power animals
I
for
love that.
sure. I mean, yeah. And now, yes, I actually probably did start looking at my life through a more aggressive, not aggressive is not the right word, but yeah, like that shit was messed up.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with anger, right? Anger is
Yeah.
very clarifying, it's sharpening, it's strengthening, it's empowering, it makes shit happen. Anger is a good thing. It's
Ooh.
when we suppress it, when we feel like we can't express it, that it starts to get toxic in our system. And so, truth teller is all about alchemizing the rage, alchemizing the anger, being able to stand up for yourself and neutrally advocate for you, for yourself, for humanity, whoever you're looking after, and also to be able to use your words like smooth communication, skillful, and not be afraid of hurting people's feelings. It's like the time of being PC and nice. It's like we just waste too much fucking time doing that. It's like, just tell me what the truth is. Just tell me the truth, right? And then we become a lot more connected that way. Truth teller, truth tellers are like a little softer version. We have like a 2.0 called divine truth, and that one's like even more kind of making space for conflict being okay. So, you kind of start with truth teller and then you can move on to divine truth. Uh, it's a fun process.
It is. It is. And then I sit in the bath with your salts, the
Mhm.
love salts. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can just also just fully immerse, right? And in the flower energies, it doesn't have to always be about kind of like raw, gritty, looking at conflict. It can also be like you said, looking at the beauty and the sensuality and the soft parts of yourself and attracting more of that because we are all kind of hard on ourselves too much.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I've called that self-critic many names. The gray cloud, the black cloud, my inner patriarchy. Yeah.
There's the bossy girl,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
bitchy girl,
Yep.
the protectors. We love them all.
We love them all. Yep. The pink, soft, cloudy one too. Yep. All of them. Yeah, all of them. Wow. So, was there, as we get into your journey of being such an entrepreneur and being able to, like a seer, to be able to see these flower powers, was there one flower that lifted the veil for you, or how did your journey go?
Nah, I don't think it was one. It was really like it's one and then there's many and there's one and there's many. It's a whole garden, it's a whole world. It's like mm, I mean, it's crazy because every month I'm taking a new flower essence and I've been doing this for 20 some years and every single month I'm like, "Oh my God." It's like I every month I'm shocked at what I experience within me as a result of working with a new flower. And it's like the coolest things. It's like the love affair that never gets old, and there's just constantly new facets of yourself that you discover in relationship to other people. Um, I mean, I remember the one that shocked me, I think in the beginning was impatience. I tell this story often because it's like an illustration of how there are certain things in our blind spots that we don't see. When you're driving on the road, if you don't check your blind spot, it could be fatal. And oftentimes, I mean, all the time, we have blind spots. We have things about ourselves that we can't see. It's kind of unnerving. And the first time I took impatience flower essence at the time, I was in my early 20s and I thought, I am the most peaceful person on earth. I am very patient. And I took this remedy and I was like, I am the most impatient person on the planet. Like, I don't have patience for anything. It was like all of a sudden you just see yourself in a different light. And what actually I think was really going on is you start incorporating this flower and it turns up the volume. It's like it puts a magnifying glass on any little part in you that is impatient, and suddenly you see it like somebody turned up the volume on the stereo and it's real loud, you know?
Yes.
But it's cool because then you get to see it. You get to see what's in your blind spot, and then you can make a choice. You can harness that energy, you can channel it, you can express it even more, you can move it through, you can find a little bit more of a middle path in between extremes. And we do this pendulum swing thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I mean, night blooming jasmine is one of my favorite flowers. That's like, I mean, I love that flower because you look at it and it's like just such a simple plain white flower that looks like a star. It's like kind of a nothing flower. When you look at it, you're like, that's like not the most interesting exotic flower. And then you walk by it at night and it's like, whoa, like
Yes.
backblast of fragrance. And it's so seductive and beautiful. And the way that it helps us is it dissolves loneliness. Who doesn't experience loneliness at some point? And also self-criticism and like not liking our bodies and what's that new cellulite on my ass? And I don't like the way my this does this or that or the other, right? So it's
Right.
like, how do we fall in love more with ourselves and our own beauty and appreciate all of that? So, I mean, I could go on and on about a million flowers, but those are the top two that come to mind.
Right. It isn't what you're being told and sold out there in the world that helps shift you. It is only the love for yourself and being in love with yourself and being in relationship to all of those things that you just said.
And it's not easy, it's like so fucking cliche, like just love yourself, self-love, self-care, and it's like, but how? How do you actually do that? And it's really like this very like you said, full pedaled, one pedal at a time, lifelong process of like, suddenly you feel kind of cramped and you're like, oh, I could just like move a little bit this way and whoa, it opens up all this new space. And it's like a continual process of that. And then we see other women doing it and we can find even more space for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we can just recognize that we're a little cramped and we just need some more space, and it's not going to stay that way forever, just needs a minute. It's that biological ebb and flow. Just give it a second. Give
And
it,
what's the crazy part is we're constantly changing. So like we're trying to decide, could we ever love our physical bodies and our emotional baggage and everything that makes us who we are? Could we actually learn to love ourselves in this moment right now? And then in the next moment, we've already changed. In the
yes.
next moment, like gravity's already taken our boobs down a notch. It's like, and we're like, we got a new wrinkle on our face. It's
Yeah.
like, if we, like, I always would tell myself, like, one day I'll be in my 80s and I'll be like, damn, I was hot today, you know?
Yep. Yes. It's always reviewing those pictures like, wait, why did I think I was fat?
That looks pretty
No,
good,
that
right?
was pretty good. Damn hot. That was a hot girl day. And what was I thinking? Yeah, just because maybe I was menstruating then or something. You just never know.
And not that it's about appearance. It's not about looking good for other people. It's
That's
more like, how can we find more freedom and liberation in just being ourselves, right?
that's right. Hallelujah. Mm-hmm. 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 That magical moment you find within yourself again.
Yeah, it's like put on the summer swimsuit and like let it rip. I
Let's
feel
go. Let's
good.
go. Because I'm telling you what, I see that exact attitude on that plumeria that is right outside right now. It is a new plumeria in my life, and I am like, I have a time lapse on it. I'm so excited about this blossoming. Number 3 is happening today.
What color?
It's the white with the pink and yellow.
Oh, wow.
Mm,
That's beautiful. Yeah, she's not like, am I taking up too much space? Am I too bright? Am I too pretty? Am I too gorgeous? Am I too fat? Am I, am I?
exactly.
It's just
Exactly
like,
right.
I don't care.
That's right. Leaves, you're behind me, flower up front. Fearless. Fearless. Oh,
Fearless.
so good. So
Yeah.
good.
And actually with the theme fearless, one thing I want to share, I think you'll be interested in is like, because I've been at this work for so long, 20 some years, I've seen so many changes happen in the world and in the world of flower essences, and like organically seeing what is it that people need in each moment. And if we get current to like now, what people really need now, and then in the next like year or two, what I'm seeing is more fearlessness. Like that is the key word. And when I first, there's like things kind of roll out in series over here, and there's a series of three, we call them awaken, you know, products, and they're like remedies for more fearlessness. And I was like, at first I was like, God, didn't we already do that? Like, didn't we do that in 2020 and all the, didn't we already
Oh,
do the fear thing? And then I looked at all the flowers and I was like, no, we did not do fear of starvation. We did not do fear of war. We did not do fear of terrorist attack. We did not do fear of like being seen on a stage of, speaking to 1,000 people. We did not do I don't know, there's so many weird little fears of being attacked, fears of seeing the truth, fears of like there's so many odd little things. And when I first started working with these flowers, it was like all of a sudden in my daily basis, I had this like new kind of experience where it was like, fuck, everything I do, say, perceive, every action is to avoid some kind of fear that is secretly running in the background that no one else knows about. Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to get abandoned. Well, I better do this and say this and position this and do
yep.
this. It's like, and it like blew my mind because I'm looking at myself going, I am living in this matrix where I am constructing everything based on some kind of weird form of safety that I think if I can arrange this and arrange that and arrange this and arrange this, and I can prevent myself from some kind of future pain or suffering because I'm afraid of it happening. It's like, are you serious? Like I'm doing this all day at the same time that I'm like growing my business and taking care of the dog and like, and every human being is doing that. That is too much. Like that's a whole new level of uh programming and software that we got to work through and slowly dissolve and dump over time. So that's what we're doing at LOTUSWEI personally, and also in the businesses, getting out more flower remedies for fearlessness, because there's just a lot of subconscious stuff in there. And also probably collectively, it's like time's up. It's time for us to become leaders.
It
We the
is.
we the people become leaders.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, whose peace are you trying to keep if you're living in all that? If you're trying to walk around those fear edges, are you trying to keep someone else's peace? Why? I mean, I'm this years old where I started saying that. I'm like, I'm not keeping their peace. That's fine. If they, if it's, no, no, I need to keep my peace. Yeah.
I think we're trying to protect ourselves from future pain, perceived
Survival.
perceived future pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
I might die. I might be left alone. You know what I've been hearing a lot of recently from women is fear of success. And then I'll do this little exercise. Do you have any fear of success?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, can I do the exercise with you?
Yes, please. Breathe it
Okay,
out. Yes, girl.
it's really simple.
Okay.
Um, so let's just say you are like successful beyond your wildest dreams, right? You are like, whoa, like blasting it. Like you've got kind of a mental picture of what that looks like when you're just
Yep.
at the top of your explosive game here. What's the worst thing that can happen if that happens?
Oh. Well, I like to work off my gut, and my gut just said, "Oh, now I'm gonna die. I won't be able to like ruminate in it or be in love with it for very long."
So isn't that interesting that somewhere in you, subconsciously, you have a pattern that success equals death? So why the hell would you want to be successful? Why the hell would you want to reach your full potential if it equals death? Right? I
Right.
mean,
My eyes are like,
and
"What?"
and you're not alone. Like what I've heard in the last couple of weeks are abandonment. My friends and family will leave me. I'll be super lonely. It will be boring. Uh,
It will be boring.
it will be boring because I'll just be left all alone by myself. I won't have time with my kids. My kids will grow old. I will never be able to be with them. My husband will cheat on me because I won't have any time to give him affection because I'll be so busy and successful. Like endless amounts of stuff, right? And when we kind of backtrack it, it's like, okay, cool, right. That's why we're not more successful. Because if that's what the programming is, who wants any of that? So we backtrack it and say, for you, for example, could you imagine a possibility where this wild success picture in your head actually didn't involve death? That you would get to experience like a long and luxurious 20 to 30 years where you could just like really ripen and enjoy it and express it and be in it. Could you imagine that? Like, is
Yeah.
that possible?
Yeah. I'm sitting outside and I'm wearing pink. I mean, I see it. I see it.
So then it's like a matter of, flower essences can help. And also, but just like consciously putting your awareness on something already starts to change it. It's already starting the process of change in your system right now because you've poked a finger at it. It's like, I see you. Okay. Everything starts changing. They've done studies in Germany where um, if people become aware of a particular physical imbalance, like let's say I just became aware of like a fibroid in my uterus or something. Then, because of my conscious awareness, my physical body already starts to, the healing process taking place. So, okay, you've established that success meant death to you. Now your system is like, let me find the ways that maybe success doesn't actually mean death, that I can enjoy it, right? That it doesn't mean that everything stops and whatever else is in there. That, and then you can move towards a version of your success where you're continually affirming that, yeah, I get to enjoy this. Oh, wow, this feels good. It's sensational. It's beautiful. And I can lean into it because look at me. I'm experiencing it. I'm here. Like this death picture is not really true, actually, right?
Right. I am here.
Yeah, you're enjoying it right now. I mean,
Yes.
enjoying a
Yes.
level of success right now. You're on a
Totally.
interviewing someone on a podcast in Hawaii with your flowers blooming outside.
I,
With them.
and it's with Katie. It's just how much more perfect. It's like, it's perfect. I am loving this moment right now. That was a moment where you helped me alchemize.
Yeah, I mean, think of how much time you have to like enjoy success every day.
I'm I got a new awakening.
And then
I get a new order too.
maybe on some level, a part of you does die, a part of you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like shedding of the skin, like snakes do. It hurts a little bit when they shed a little bit to grow into their new one. I have shed a few skins. I'm down. I'm down.
You know what that feels like, and you can trust yourself through that process, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trusting yourself. That's all going to be good, right? Like we were saying before, you got to know loving yourself through that.
Yeah, that's key. I mean, it's really one of the deepest motivations for me right now with flower essences is to help people really root into their sense of self-trust. We don't necessarily need a doctor in a white coat. We don't need the news anchor. We don't need the CDC. We don't need the parental figures. We don't need some authority. We don't need like all that's great. And we can totally trust ourselves. Like if
Yeah.
somebody said, okay, after this moment, Jody, you never have to doubt yourself ever again. Like it's so liberating, you know?
Yes. Yes. That's funny you said that. Yeah. Dropping the doubt was something I'm working on for this year.
And it isn't even really like, do we have the capacity to lead ourselves? It's like, can we just let go of the doubts? Because we can lead ourselves. We know how to do this. Like, and then you get to the other point where you don't know how to do something and you figure it out. That's what life's about.
Right. That learning process.
Otherwise, no one would become a mother, right? Like nobody
Discovery.
teaches you how to become a parent,
Right.
but people are figuring it out all the time. And nobody teaches you how to die. In some cultures, maybe in Tibet, they teach you specifically what will you experience and what will you feel at the moment of death and the transfer of consciousness. But that's very rare. But we figure it out, don't we?
Right.
So it's like
Totally.
we're constantly like put in these positions in life of having to open to things and trust ourselves. So mm, it's
Yeah.
really about dropping the doubts.
Yeah. I just love how you connect through self and through the earth. And it is an art form.
Mm.
You know, every bone in our body is creative, like we can see Mother Earth giving us with these flowers, with the trees, with these other forces. We can learn so much.
Mm. Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with opening up your system to more magic. I think in the West, we have, and some people don't even like that word, like, don't use the word magic. It's undermining what you're doing. I see that a lot. And it's like when you're a little kid and you're like, I don't know, digging in the mud or making mud pies or climbing trees or, you know, maybe you're like grew up in a city and you're in the alley poking around little weeds and dandelions. The magic of this paradise that we live in. Like it is absolutely magical. And so many of the ways that we just move through life kind of strip us of that mystery and that spiritual essence, the synchronicity. And the more we let ourselves open to that, like, it's like when I first started collecting flower essences, of course I was like, am I nuts?
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Am I making this shit up? Like, is this really real? Could this really be real? Um, but then over time, it's like, well, what do we have to lose? Wouldn't you rather live in a magical world? And I don't mean delusional.
Right. Right. The magic word got what's the word? It got
Oh,
demonized. It got demonized.
yeah. But I mean, geez, there's just like so much beauty around us. And also it's not limited to like 6 or 10 plants. Like that's another theme I'm seeing is like people are super into their entheogens and their psychedelic experiences and their cannabis stuff. And that's cool. And I believe that people, like a lot of people have this really deep, pure motivation and they come to the table of entheogenic plant medicines like I want to know myself better and I want to know a sense of spiritual essence better. And from my perspective, it's like there are hundreds of thousands of botanicals on this planet, 45,000 flowering species. Every single one of them is doing something. Like I could collect flower essences every day until I die and not get them all. Right. So
Right.
why are we fixating on just like 5 or 10,
Yes. Yes.
so much more out there. It's like when your science teacher says you're using 10% of your brain, and then you're like, well, what if we were using 100%? Or maybe just like 50%?
Man, and the way you come about these flowers, I mean, to me, I just think that you have a curiosity that is beyond or something. Like your brain got more curiosities in it or something.
No, not true. Everybody's the same, but maybe I just was I don't know. I'm not really sure. Maybe because I was an only child and I didn't have many friends. The flowers became my friends. No, I don't know. It's just like a deep, deep, deep longing, like a
Yeah.
deep longing to help people reach their full potential. And the flowers are such an awesome medium for that.
I see. I agree. I agree. Wow. Wow. So you've been doing this for 20, 25 years. Um, Only child. I guess I'm a little surprised.
Why?
I uh, that helper that nurture. I don't know.
I
I
think
don't.
only children get a bad rap, right? And they're like
Yeah, they do.
spoiled
Yeah.
brats, selfish, they get all the presents at Christmas. Like
Yeah. They actually get a birthday party.
whiny babies. Like, I don't know. In my experience, they're like also really independent and kind of lonely. Um, and kind of adult like because they're just hanging around adults all the time.
I see. Yeah. I
And
am
so,
classic middle child. There's like,
are you?
yeah, it's a mix of uh babe marriages, but there's like 9 of us all together.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah.
The families,
Blended. And so sometimes I'm like, I need to go get quiet time.
right?
Yeah.
You're the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Man, I just love everything that you're doing, that you're doing. So tell us more. Like, do you have, so you're working, what's your R&D practice? I don't know how else to say it. I mean, do you have like a workbench, a lab that you're experimenting with or
Yeah, constantly. I mean, they're like everywhere.
I love it. I love it.
Uh, let's see. What could I tell you about it?
I know
I'll
it
get
doesn't
the
have to.
bug. I'll get the bug in my butt to go collect flowers. It's either like somewhere internationally or more recently it's been like all the different flowers in Arizona and the desert, from the desert to the orchids in the forest to um I don't know, there's just so much here even. Um so I'll get the bug in my butt to go collect something, and then we'll take a bunch of pages of notes about what it's for, and then we'll give it to 150-ish people and see what they experience, and then compile that and make sure that what the notes I took is, what is correct, and then what other things are we discovering through the lenses of other people's filters that I didn't, get from the beginning. Um,
Oh, let's talk about Arizona.
yeah,
I spent a little bit of time in Arizona. I was a teenager. I was a
okay,
military brat, so I lived all over the
cool,
place.
awesome.
So my Arizona stint was in Fort Huachuca, southern past in the Sierras past Tucson in Sierra Vista.
Like close to the border, huh?
I think yes.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's like really close, but yeah. And I remember we had to check our shoes for scorpions every day. And I remember I was also a competitive swimmer, so I did drive around the state a lot and remember seeing cactus and cactus flower.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a very interesting environment. There's a reason why people would like go to the desert when they wanted a healing or to see something, right? Because it's like the environment is a reflection of what's happening internally. So
Ooh, can you say that again?
the environment you're in has a reflection internally. So when you are looking to find something inside of yourself, you go to places like deserts because you can see from horizon to horizon. It's not like curling up under a little mossy thing under a tree, it's like it's stark, it's clear, it's sharp. You see from here to here. Same on the inside, you see from here to here. There's nothing, there's nowhere to hide. There's no comfort to seek. And also when you're walking, it's like dry and it's hot and it's pokey and you might step on a prickly thing. And so your awareness is really sharp. You're listening, you're sharp. You don't want a rattlesnake to come out and bite you. So,
Right.
or a scorpion to be in your shoe.
Yeah.
So it creates this like hypersensitive awareness. So a lot of the plants also, and then we could talk about like um conservation of resources. Like you don't want to be like pouring out all your energy because it's hot and dry and extreme. So you've got to like conserve. And then when the timing is right, boom. So it's like all the different plants of the desert are teaching you how to access your spiritual power, how to see all the sides inside deep within you, how to conserve energy and sharpness, awakeness, clarity. And everywhere you go in the world, if you go to Iceland, Iceland is more about like the absolute joy and wonder of being a child and being curious and seeing what's around you. If you go to Costa Rica, it's like all these different flavors and themes around deep subconscious fears. Like, am I going to be eaten by a tiger, or am I going to be swallowed by a volcano? Or it's just like
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
subconscious stuff. And where you're at in Hawaii, I've never been to Hawaii, but everywhere you go, there's a different flavor.
Yeah.
And the plants are like the emitters or the transmitters of that particular wisdom of the earth. It's like the botanical floral Wi-Fi where you can upgrade your system or download a new piece of information.